The trading post on Keller 9 hummed with the usual cacophony of a dozen species bartering, arguing, and conducting business. Lena stood behind her modest stall, arranging colorful earth fruits she'd smuggled across 3 star systems. Apples, oranges, strawberries, contraband by Galactic Health Council standards, but profitable nonetheless. The Vraen cubs tumbled into the market like a small avalanche of fur and curiosity. There were 5 of them, their silver pelts catching the artificial sunlight filtering through the dome. Their chaperone, an exhausted-looking elder named Thress, followed several paces behind, her translator collar sparking with overuse. Lena had seen Vraen before, massive carnivores whose homeworld boasted gravity twice that of Earth. Adults stood 8 feet tall and could tear through starship hulls with their bare claws. But the cubs? They were adorable in that dangerous, unpredictable way that made every species in the market give them a wide berth. Rock was the boldest. He bounded ahead of his siblings, nose twitching at every stall, ears rotating like radar dishes. When he reached Lena's display, he froze. "What are those?" he asked, his translator rendering his growling speech into passable standard. "Fruit," Lena replied, keeping her voice calm. She'd learned that sudden movements around Vraen cubs resulted in property damage at best. "From my homeworld." "They look strange," another cub piped up, pressing her face against the stall's barrier. "So many colors. Are they alive?" "We're alive," Lena corrected gently. "They're food." The cubs recoiled as if she'd suggested eating starship fuel. Thress finally caught up, wheezing, her translator crackling with what Lena assumed were apologies. "Forgive them, human. They've never seen plant-based nutrition presented so vividly." Lena smiled. The Vraen were obligate carnivores, their entire civilization built around the hunt. The concept of eating plants was as foreign to them as eating metal would be to humans. "Would they like to try some?" Lena asked, already reaching for an apple. Thress's ears flattened. "The council regulations aren't enforced in this sector," Lena interrupted smoothly. "And I won't tell if you don't." Rock's eyes, large, golden, and impossibly bright, fixed on the apple in Lena's hand. She could see his nose working overtime, trying to categorize the strange sweet scent emanating from the red sphere. "It won't hurt them," Lena assured Thress. "Promise." Humans have been sharing fruit with other species for centuries. Well, Earth species, but the principle holds. Thress looked at her charges, then at Lena, then sighed with the weight of 1,000 regrets. One taste, small. Lena selected a strawberry instead, less commitment, more impact. She held it out on her palm, letting Rock approach on his own terms. The cub crept forward, his siblings watching with a mixture of fascination and horror. "It's red like blood," Rock observed, "but it's sweet like, well, you'll see." Rock's tongue, surprisingly delicate for a creature bred for tearing flesh, extended and touched the strawberry. He jerked back immediately, eyes widening to saucers. "It's cold." "That's the refrigeration," Lena explained. "Try actually eating it." The market seemed to hold its breath. Even the Tessian merchants at the next stall had stopped their chattering to watch. A human offering fruit to a Vraen cub. It was the sort of cultural exchange that either built bridges or started incidents. Rock looked at Thress. The elder nodded, resigned. The cub opened his mouth, revealing rows of teeth designed for a very different diet, and bit into the strawberry. The change was instantaneous. Rock's eyes went wide, wider than Lena thought physically possible. His ears shot straight up. His tail, which had been swishing nervously, froze in midair. For a moment he didn't move, didn't breathe, just stood there processing the explosion of flavor that had just detonated in his mouth. "By the hunt, mother," he whispered. Then chaos erupted. The other cubs swarmed the stall, their previous hesitation evaporating like morning dew. "I want to try." "Give me one!" "What else do you have?" Their voices overlapped into a cacophony of demands while Thress tried desperately to maintain order. Lena laughed, a genuine, delighted sound, and began distributing samples. An orange slice for the cautious female cub who approached slowly. A grape for the twins who couldn't decide between them and ended up sharing. A piece of apple for the smallest one who'd been hiding behind Rock. The reactions were universal, eyes widening, ears perking, bodies freezing in that moment of sensory revelation. Then the questions came in a torrent. How does it taste like this? Where do these grow? Can we hunt them? Why isn't it meat? Can we take some home? Lena fielded each question patiently, explaining photosynthesis to carnivores, describing orchards to cubs who'd never seen a tree, translating agricultural concepts into terms of territory and resource management. Rock, meanwhile, had claimed a corner of the stall and was methodically working his way through a second strawberry, with the focus of a scholar studying ancient texts. Between bites, he looked up at Lena with something approaching reverence. "This is what humans eat?" he asked. "Part of what we eat," Lena confirmed. "No wonder you're so strange." She raised an eyebrow. "Strange how?" Rock considered this, his young mind working through complex thoughts. "You're small, weak-looking, no claws, barely any teeth. But you travel everywhere, trade with everyone, fear nothing." He held up the strawberry remains. "You eat sunshine and water turned into this. You don't need to hunt. You don't need to kill." His golden eyes met hers. "You're free in a way we're not." The profound observation hung in the air. Around them, his siblings continued their fruit-fueled chaos, but Rock's words had created a pocket of quiet understanding. "We all have our strengths," Lena said softly. "Yours is the hunt. Ours is cultivation, I suppose. Growing things, nurturing them, making sweetness from dirt and sunlight." "Teach me," Rock said suddenly. "Teach me how to make these." Thress, who had been attempting to corral the other cubs, froze. "Rock, why not?" The cub's voice carried a note of defiance. "The humans share their food. They share their knowledge. They fear neither the council nor the old ways." He turned to his chaperone. "You always say the strong adapt. Isn't learning adaptation?" Lena caught Thress's eye and saw something shift there. A recognition, perhaps, of change arriving whether they welcomed it or not. "Tell you what," Lena said, making a decision that would probably get her fined by multiple regulatory bodies. "I'll give you seeds. And instructions. What you do with them is your choice." She handed Rock a small packet, strawberry seeds carefully preserved. The cub took them like they were made of precious metal. "Thank you, Lena Human," he said formally. As Thress finally managed to herd the fruit-drunk cubs away from the stall, Rock looked back one final time. His eyes, still wide with wonder, held a promise of gardens on carnivore worlds, of Vraen farmers tending crops under alien suns, of a future neither species had imagined. Sometimes, Lena thought watching them go, the most revolutionary act was simply sharing something sweet.